And Arindam in India on our Facebook page, picking up on the point I was just making, says technology would not give the spectators an opportunity to discuss what we would talk about over a beer. Well, I'm sure you won't run out of things, but James, that is an issue, isn't it? That's what we all like doing as football fans. He got this right, he got this wrong.
Yeah, definitely. That definitely is an issue. That's why I think it's just about a matter of drawing the line. I think something like goal line technology works, but once you start introducing technology to look at the debatable decisions, then you sort of start picking away at the game of football. Like, where would we be without the hand of God? The whole hand of God scenario if we didn't have...
Well, I guess we might be talking about England in the semi-finals.
Yeah, I guess it would.
But everyone's... I mean, Baff, this is an interesting point. People keep mentioning the hand of God like it was some great World Cup moment, but it wasn't just a piece of cheating, which we'd have better have done without. I know I'm saying this as an Englishman, but nonetheless.
No. Listen, I know James. Me and James go way back, and we're both staunch Maradona fans.
Yeah.
I mean, Maradona can do no wrong in my eyes. And it was a bit of cheating, but it's part of the folklore. And I think James's point is completely correct. You can introduce technology. You can make certain things which undermine the credibility of FIFA and the World Cup go away just like that, whilst at the same time maintaining, you know, the limits. You don't have to bring it in for penalty decisions or red cards. You can do those things retroactively and keep that debate element and keep the mythology, you know. Because where would we be without the hand of God? You know, the legend of Maradona would be.
There's a few of us who'd be quite happy to be without the hand of God. But anyway, that's a separate programme. Let's pull up another email on the screen and then we'll get Desiree in South Africa to respond. Gift is in Zimbabwe and says via our Facebook page, being the only African team to have gone this far and with all the Africans behind them, history is in the making. Ghana are going to be the first African team to reach the semi-final since the World Cup's birth. I mean, Desiree, do you think that South Africans are now supporting Ghana, or is it more the traditional teams like Brazil and Argentina?
No, I know that a lot of South Africans, if you go onto Facebook, as you said, a lot of South Africans have decided to go behind Ghana. I even had one guy called Ghana Ghana, which is a shortened version of Bafana. They've decided to go right behind Ghana, and everybody, wherever you go, you hear the fans saying, let's go support Ghana. I've been to other World Cup matches where Cameroon has played, and there's been a lot of South African fans supporting Cameroon. Yes, you do have the South African fans that will support the likes of Brazil, England, Argentina, and the Netherlands, but I think that is in the minority.
But Ghana, it's not quite as good. It doesn't roll off the tongue quite like Black Stars.
Yeah. It's not got the same ring gear as Black Stars.
But Jesus, I mean, you're watching all this from Newcastle. It is astonishing the way that Africans seem to be prepared to support each other's teams, and the way that perhaps, you know, Europeans wouldn't support each other's teams, or South Americans might not.
Yeah, there's a solidarity there. I think this is the African World Cup. You know, we're all on the stage. When South Africa won the bid, their main ambassador was Abedi Pele, who's Andre Ayew's father and the legendary football player in his own right from the 90s. And he, you know, he's a Ghanaian footballing legend, but he went to join the FIFA, the South Africa bid, because they didn't have any of their own, you know, stars of that stature. And there's a readiness there that harks back to, you know, post-colonial Kwame Nkrumah times, when it was all about Pan-Africanism and we were all in the same boat emerging as new nations. And I think this World Cup and the build-up to it, and especially now with Ghana being, again, you could say, the rallying point for the whole continent, it's almost come full circle, and it's lovely to see. I can't say why Europeans wouldn't do the same, but
well, I can give you a few ideas, but we probably don't have time. Clipweb on Facebook says technology should not be introduced in football. One goal wouldn't have changed the Mexico or the England result. And I don't think there are too many people contacting the BBC who would disagree with that. But let me go around all of you, because you've all expressed differing types of enthusiasm for technology. But who would have the responsibility for turning to it? Would it be the players? Would it be the manager? Or would it be the referees? Desiree in South Africa, what about you? Desiree?
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
Who would have the responsibility for turning to technology? Should it be the manager or the players or the ref?
I think it should be the manager, because the players are involved in the game, and I think it should be the manager. But I believe that technology should only be used maybe on goal line, because then you wouldn't need a referee if you needed to make decisions on penalties and offsides and all of that, because then it would take away the referee's position and the assistant referee's position. So goal line for me would be the way to start.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, let's quickly bring in a guest we've been trying to speak to for a few minutes, and we can now, which is great news. Oisin Langan is a sports broadcaster at News Talk Radio in Dublin in Ireland. And I'm guessing you and your listeners have a very keen interest in this after what Thierry Henry did in the playoff, which obviously you ended up losing. I'm assuming you and everyone else support the idea of technology.
Believe it or not, I don't. A lot of Irish people do, I suppose, plainly and simply because of Thierry Henry. And yesterday we saw it again with Frank Lampard having that goal that was definitely a goal ruled out. But my own personal opinion is that technology would possibly ruin the game. And the thing is, how do you introduce it? What way does the referee do it? Do you leave it to the coaches? Do you leave it to the players? There's so much to discuss when it comes to bringing technology into football, and football is not like rugby or cricket. You can't make direct comparisons, certainly in many ways anyway. So while people say it now, and maybe, you know, it's an instant reaction to Frank Lampard and his goal, and of course here in Ireland it was said after Thierry Henry's a double handball, he didn't just do one, he did two, which was all the more hurtful. But there are still so many questions to ask when you're talking about bringing technology into football, and I think how you actually do it is the biggest one. Then, does it cause a divide?
Let's worry about the practicalities. I mean, this is one of many comments. Gianluigi at goal.com saying, controversy may provide entertainment, but football's a sport, and sport's about fairness. Shouldn't that be our first concern, and we'll worry about the practicalities afterwards?
I know I might sound like a bit of a spoil sport here, but football, like life, just isn't fair. A decision went for England in '66 with the linesman. Yesterday it went against them. A decision will go for them at some stage in the future, and I'm not just talking about England here. A decision went against us, against France when Thierry Henry handled the ball. But earlier in that group, we had a penalty against Georgia in Croke Park at home here in Dublin. And to this day, I don't know why that penalty was given. I mean, the USA had a goal ruled out against Slovenia, I think it was, in the second game of the group. The goal was ruled out, but you know, you have to look back to the first game, and Robert Green spilled the ball into the net for them. So, you know, what goes around comes around. There may be a certain element of karma in football, but football just isn't fair, and that's one of the things that makes sport great. I know they've tried in tennis with the Hawkeye system, and in cricket with the third umpire, and in rugby with the video ref to even it up a bit. But, you know, bad calls still happen in all of those sports, and I think it's just part of sport and certainly part of football. All
right, very good to speak to you. If you want to hear Oisin and you're in Dublin, tune in to News Talk Radio. We're just about out of time on today's World Cup Have Your Say. Do go to worldhaveyoursay.com if you want to carry on the discussion. Many thanks to Baff Akoto, director of Football Fables, a documentary about Ghanaian football. Also, Jesus Diaz, you can read him. He's a senior editor at gizmodo.com. Desiree Ellis, former South African women's football captain. And last but not least, James. And you think you can beat Uruguay? They've only let one goal in all tournament.
Oh, we're definitely confident we can beat Uruguay. We've not let in many goals as well. We'll stay compact, stay organised, and we can win.
Good to see you. Nice to speak to all of you on BBC World News. We're back at the same time next week.